Right now, at this exact second, there's a group of, say, 6 anglers sitting around a kitchen island in Ohio. They've got their calendars out. They've got, $10,000 to spend on a summer fishing trip. And your beautiful 5-star wilderness lodge with its perfect cabins, its incredibly hardworking staff, and the absolute best walleye fishing for 100 miles is completely invisible to them.
Completely off their radar.
Exactly. And it's not because your fishing is bad. It's because they aren't Googling. They are talking to an AI.
Yeah, and it's a terrifying thought if you aren't prepared for it.
But I mean, it is the reality of modern discovery.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking for you today on this deep dive. So welcome in.
Glad to be here.
If you run a business, right, especially a legacy business built on handshakes and returning customers, you really need to hear this. We've got a massive stack of strategy documents, consulting briefings, and source materials from iFishCanada.
Yep. Phenomenal resources in there. Yeah, they're designed specifically for the outdoor hospitality industry. So we're talking fishing lodges, outfitter camps, seasonal resorts.
Right.
And our mission today is to figure out why incredible, high-quality businesses are suddenly falling off the map for the next generation of guests. And, more importantly, how shifting your mindset from what the sources call rented marketing to building own digital assets can literally buy back years of your life.
It's a complete paradigm shift.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be looking at the difference between the sheer exhaustion of temporary promotion, like just paying to be seen for a weekend, and the compounding value of permanent digital equity.
Yes, exactly.
And for you listening, whether you run a fly-in fishing camp, a boutique hotel, or even a B2B consulting firm, the mechanisms we are going to explore today apply directly to how you are being found or ignored by modern search tools.
But to truly bring this material to life for you, we realized early on in our prep that we couldn't just read these strategy documents to you like a textbook.
No, that would be incredibly boring.
Yeah, super boring. We need to feel the actual tension on the ground. So we are going to do something a little different today. We are going to adopt specific personas for a debate-style discovery conversation.
Which I think is really the only way to do this justice. I mean, theoretical marketing advice usually just falls apart the second it hits the reality of a 70-hour work week.
Totally. So I am going to play the role of the skeptical, overworked, traditional, independent fishing lodge owner.
A role you are very ready for, I think.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm the guy who relies on legacy methods because, that's what built the business. That's what I know. And frankly, I am just too exhausted to learn a new trick.
Right. And I will be playing the role of the outdoor hospitality consultant.
The calm voice of reason.
I'll try my best.
I love it. Okay, you're the consultant, and I'm the guy who feels like he's drowning in a lake of operational nightmares. I am completely dropping into character now.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, look, man, my boots are covered in mud and 2-stroke oil. I've got 3 broken 16-foot Lund boat motors I need to rebuild before a massive group from Chicago arrives tomorrow morning.
Sounds like a typical Tuesday.
You're not kidding. The supply plane was delayed by fog, so my cook is screaming at me about the grocery order. And now you're sitting across my desk in the main lodge telling me I need to rethink my digital marketing strategy.
That's the idea, yeah.
Let's hear it, but make it quick, because from where I'm sitting, I just don't have the time to learn how to do a TikTok dance.
I can see that. And honestly, the sheer volume of logistics you manage in a single day is just staggering.
It never ends.
Just looking at your operation, you're not just a host. You're a mechanic, a meteorologist, a logistics coordinator, a crisis manager, and a hospitality director all rolled into one.
Don't forget the plumber.
Right, the plumber too.
Yeah.
You're handling cabin turnarounds, fleet maintenance, staff schedules, and that's just the baseline expected stuff. That doesn't even touch the unexpected guest problems.
Oh, you have no idea. Just yesterday, I had to fish a guy's expensive prescription sunglasses out of 12 feet of water with a landing net.
Wow, 12 feet.
Yeah, it took an hour. And then I had to drive 2 hours round trip into town to get a highly specific type of marine fuel line because the one we had cracked.
That is incredibly frustrating.
It is. People think that in the off season, I'm just sitting by a fire, relaxing, drinking coffee. In reality, I'm hiring staff for next year, doing my own accounting, repairing the cabin roofs, trying to price out fuel for the next season. And then I'm hitting the road for the winter sport shows. Like I said, it never stops.
It's a 70-hour-a-week grind in season and out. And those winter sports shows, let's talk about those for a second.
Okay.
Traditionally, that's where the magic happens for an outfitter, right? The classic discovery room.
That's exactly right. That is the absolute lifeblood of this industry. January rolls around, we pack up the truck with the pop-up banners, we drive 10 hours across the border to Milwaukee or Chicago, and we pay a premium for a 10 by 10 booth in some massive convention center.
And you're just on your feet all day.
Oh, we stand on concrete floors under those buzzing fluorescent lights for 3 or 4 days straight. We hand out thousands of glossy brochures, we shake hands, and we answer the exact same questions 100 times a day.
Like what kind of questions?
Oh,
Yeah.
what species of fish do you have? How big are the cabins? Do I need to bring my own sleeping bag? Do you have indoor plumbing? Same stuff, over and over.
It sounds incredibly demanding, physically and mentally.
Look, the sports show is exhausting, I won't lie to you. It takes weeks out of my winter. It costs a fortune in hotel rooms and booth fees.
Right.
But here's the thing. It puts me in the physical room with serious anglers. I look them in the eye, I shake their hands, I tell them about my lake, and I get the bookings. I literally write their deposits down in the ledger, right there on the folding table. So why fix what isn't broken?
I completely understand why you value that dynamic. That face-to-face connection, looking someone in the eye, that is the absolute core of hospitality.
Exactly.
And the effort you put in is commendable. But let me ask you a situation question. Just looking at the mechanics and the economics of that specific effort.
Okay, shoot.
When you spend all that money on the booth fees, the hotel, the fuel, the printed brochures, and you spend all weekend standing on that concrete, answering those same 5 questions over and over. What does your business actually own? When the fluorescent lights turn off, you pack up the leftover brochures and you drive back across the border.
Well, what do you mean, what do I own? I own the deposits from the guys who booked. I own a full calendar for the first 2 weeks of June.
You secured transactions? Yes,
Yeah.
You made sales. But regarding your visibility, your reach, the moment that convention center closes its doors, that discovery room goes completely dark.
I mean, I guess, but the show is over.
Exactly. The visibility you paid thousands of dollars for vanishes instantly. The effort you put into explaining your border crossing logistics or your cabin layouts to one person at a time doesn't compound. Next year, you have to start from absolute zero, pay the booth fee again, drive the 10 hours again, and answer the exact same plumbing questions all over again.
I mean, that's just the cost of doing business. You have to be where the guests are. You have to put yourself in front of them.
And that's exactly where things are shifting beneath your feet. Because that discovery room, the place where serious trip planners go to figure out their next vacation, to gather information and make choices, it hasn't disappeared.
People are definitely still taking trips.
People are still planning trips, yeah. But the room has migrated. It is no longer a physical show floor for the vast majority of the next generation of guests. It is moved into a highly private digital environment.
Okay, if you're just talking about Googling things, I have a website. I paid a guy a few $1,000 5 years ago to build it. It's got a contact form. It's totally fine.
It's much deeper than a traditional search engine, and the behavior is radically different. I want you to picture the contrast here.
All right, paint a picture for me.
On one side, you have the traditional model, you, exhausted, leaning on a folding table at a booth in Chicago, handing out a paper brochure that, let's be honest, might end up in a hotel room trash can by Sunday morning.
Hey, those brochures are expensive, but yeah, fair enough.
On the other side, you have the modern group organizer. Let's say it's a younger guy, maybe 35, organizing a trip for his dad, his brother, and 3 buddies. He's sitting at his kitchen island on a Tuesday night.
Okay.
He opens his phone, but he doesn't type Ontario Fishing Lodge into a search bar and scroll through 10 pages of blue links. He opens an AI assistant like ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Google's new AI overviews, and he asks a highly specific conversational question before he even knows your lodge exists.
What kind of question? I mean, what is he actually asking a robot?
Something incredibly detailed. He asks, what is the best fly-in walleye lodge in northwestern Ontario for 6 people in the first week of July, where 2 of the guys are older and need a cabin close to the dock without steep stairs?
Okay, well, we could handle that group perfectly. Cabin 4 is right on the water, no stairs at all. It's a flat walk.
I know you could. Your hospitality is excellent and your physical property is a perfect fit. But here is the problem beneath the surface. Independent lodges can have exceptional fishing, phenomenal hosts, immaculate cabins, great food, and still be completely absent from that first planning conversation at the kitchen table.
Why? If we have what he wants, why wouldn't we show up?
It's an information visibility problem. If that AI assistant cannot find specific, mathematically citable facts about your step-free cabin access or your July walleye patterns, it will not name you in its shortlist.
It just skips us.
Completely. It will name the lodge 3 lakes over that did document those facts. The research is happening, the shortlists are being made, and the decision is being formed long before you ever get a chance to shake a hand at a sports show or answer a ringing phone.
Okay, I'll admit, the sports show floor is definitely getting a bit older.
You're seeing that firsthand.
Oh, yeah. When I look around the aisles in Milwaukee, there's a lot of gray hair, both behind the booths and walking the aisles. The younger guys just aren't walking the shows like they used to.
Which brings us to a really critical juncture for your business model. You mentioned earlier that your June calendar is full. You have an incredibly loyal base of repeat guests, right?
Oh, absolutely. I've got groups of guys from Wisconsin and Ohio who've been coming up for 30 years. Same week, same cabin, every single summer.
That's amazing.
They're like family. I know their kids' names. I know that they like their steaks cooked. I don't even really have to market to them. They just send the deposit check in January and show up in June.
And that loyalty is a massive testament to your hard work. It's beautiful. That is the soul of hospitality. But let me ask you a problem awareness question.
I'm bracing myself.
You rely heavily on these legacy guests to cover your baseline operating costs. What happens to the actual valuation of your business when that loyal generation ages out? They stop traveling because the float plane ride gets too hard on their backs, and the younger generation of group leaders can't find you because they're planning at that kitchen table.
I guess I always figured the sons would just take over the booking. I mean, they grew up coming to the camp.
Sometimes they do, yeah.
Nah.
But relying on inherited loyalty is a depreciating asset, not a strategic succession plan. The strategy documents we are looking at highlight a phenomenon called the demographic cliff.
The demographic cliff sounds ominous.
And what makes it so dangerous is that it's not this dramatic event where all your guests vanish overnight and alarms go off. It's much more insidious because it's quiet. It's a preference gap that compounds over the years.
A preference gap? Like, they prefer different kinds of fishing. They want bass instead of walleye.
No, they prefer an entirely different way of reducing risk during the planning phase.
Reducing risk.
Yeah, by the time an owner actually notices their occupancy falling visibly, say, you suddenly have 3 empty cabins in your prime June weeks, and you can't figure out why, that preference gap has been widening silently for a decade.
So what exactly are they preferring?
The younger group organizers, the 30-somethings who will sustain your business for the next 20 years, they prioritize speed of discovery, digital clarity, and risk reduction over almost everything else, including brand loyalty.
Risk reduction? Hold on. We're talking about a fishing trip, a vacation, not a corporate merger. What risk?
Well, think about it from his perspective. To a guy organizing a trip for 6 adult men, collecting thousands of dollars of their money via Venmo, trying to figure out international border crossings, passport renewals, flight logistics, and trying to make sure his aging dad actually has a comfortable time for it. It feels like a massive personal risk.
I guess so. The social pressure on him is pretty high if the trip is a bust.
Exactly. The social pressure on the trip planner is huge. They don't want to call 5 different lodges on their lunch break and play phone tag just to figure out basic logistics. They want to know the border crossing rules, the boat motor horsepower, and the species availability before they commit to a conversation with a salesperson.
And if they can't find it easily?
If they can't find that clarity quickly and privately on their phone, the perceived risk of your lodge is too high. They move on to a competitor who makes the information frictionless.
But wait, let's unpack this AI thing you keep hammering on. You keep talking about them using AI.
Yes.
My guests come to my camp specifically to disconnect. That is the whole point. They leave their phones in the cabin, they come to hear the loons, drink a beer on the dock, and escape technology. They don't use AI to fish.
You're absolutely right about the experience they want while they are physically on your property. The analog escape is your product.
Right.
But we are talking about the journey before they arrive. We are talking about what the industry calls the dark funnel.
The dark funnel. That sounds like a horror movie about marketing. Or a terrible new fishing lure.
It is a bit scary if you aren't prepared for it. And for you listening, this applies to every industry right now. The dark funnel is the phase of the consumer journey where modern buyers, in this case younger families and trip organizers, are making their preliminary decisions inside closed AI conversations.
Before they even look at my site.
Long before they ever click a link to visit your website, fill out your contact form, or pick up a phone to call you.
Why is it dark?
Because it's invisible to your traditional tracking.
Yeah.
In the old days, you could look at Google Analytics and see, 50 people searched for Ontario fishing and clicked on my site.
Right, the hits.
Yeah, the hits. But in the dark funnel, A user spends 20 minutes talking back and forth with an AI, narrowing down their options from 20 lodges down to 2. They ask the AI about the weather, the boat sizes, the food. The AI fetches the information and feeds it back to them directly in the chat window.
So I never see them at all.
The decision is forming in the dark where your traditional website analytics can't even see it happening. By the time they finally visit your website, it's just to find the phone number to book. If you aren't in the AI's dataset, you were eliminated in the dark.
Okay, but my website has beautiful pictures. I hired a great photographer. I've got pictures of sunsets over the lake, guys holding massive fish.
Visuals are important for humans, yes.
The homepage says we offer world-class fishing and nature at its finest. If the AI is looking around the internet, isn't that enough for it to say, hey, this place looks great, you should go here?
This is exactly what the briefings call the visibility paradox. You can have a stunning brochure of a website. It can look absolutely beautiful to a human eye. The sunset photos might be award-winning.
They really are good photos.
I believe it. But if the text relies on generic marketing fluff phrases like world-class fishing, unforgettable adventure, or memories that will last a lifetime, it is completely invisible to an AI assistant.
Why? AI is supposed to be incredibly smart. Can't it figure out that my lodge is great?
AI is smart at processing data, but it cannot parse fluff. It doesn't know what world-class means because it has zero objective mathematical value. Every single lodge on the planet claims to have world-class fishing.
That's true. Everyone says it.
Right. The AI models, whether it's Anthropic's Claude, OpenAI's ChatGPT, or Google's Gemini, they act as vetting agents for the user. They need extractable, citable facts to build a reliable answer.
So it's looking for data, not poetry.
Exactly. When that planner at the kitchen table asks about a fly-in walleye trip for 6 people in July, the AI scans its index for specific entity data. It looks for a lodge that explicitly states, in plain text, our June and July walleye trips focus on the western rock piles of Eagle Lake, accessible via a 20-minute float plane flight from the base with 3-bedroom cabins designed for groups of 4 to 8.
Very specific.
Yes. If your site just says, contact us for the fishing trip of a lifetime, the AI has absolutely no factual fuel to build a recommendation. It cannot mathematically prove to the user that you meet their criteria, so it skips you. It leaves you out of the answer entirely.
Okay, stop right there. I am feeling my blood pressure rise.
I can see that.
You are sitting here telling me that on top of fixing boat motors, plunging toilets, ordering food for 50 people, managing a staff of teenagers who won't get off their phones, and trying to keep the camp running, I now have to become a digital marketing professional because I don't have time to learn SEO. I don't have time to figure out AI algorithms or learn how to code. And I absolutely refuse, under any circumstances, to hire some agency to post pictures on social media every day.
Yeah.
Tech is just a massive pileup of more work for an operator who is already drowning in it.
I hear the frustration, and I completely agree with you.
You do?
100%. You absolutely should not be posting on social media every day. You should be learning to code, and you shouldn't be hiring a traditional agency to run generic ads.
Good, because I won't. I'd sell the place first.
But let me ask you a solution awareness question. I want to shift the perspective from the effort to the outcome.
All right, I'm listening.
Think about that money and that time you spend on the sport shows or on print ads in fishing magazines. What happens to your business model and your personal stress levels if your marketing is just a bill you pay to rent attention temporarily, rather than a permanent asset you build that actually buys back your time?
Buys back my time? Come on. Marketing takes time. It doesn't buy it back. Every hour I spend messing with my website is an hour I'm not fixing a boat or talking to a guest.
That's absolutely true of rented exposure. Let's unpack the difference, because this is the core of the strategy documents. Rented exposure is the sport show booth. It's a paid ad on Facebook. It's a printed brochure. It's a chronological social media post on Instagram.
The stuff that disappears.
Exactly. Think about that Instagram post. You spend an hour taking a great photo, writing a caption, and posting it. It gets a few likes, it slides down the feed, and 12 hours later, it is functionally dead.
Yeah, that always drove me crazy.
The visibility vanishes the second your budget runs out or the chronological feed moves on. It's temporary. It requires constant, exhausting manual effort to maintain, like shoveling snow while it's still snowing.
Okay, I feel that. It's a treadmill. So what is the alternative? Because I still need people to know I exist. Otherwise, the cabins are empty.
The alternative is building owned marketing assets. This is about fundamentally evaluating every marketing effort by asking a new question. After this dollar or this hour is spent, what does the lodge still own?
So assets instead of ads.
Right. Owned exposure creates a permanent, digital operating asset. It's a dedicated 1,000-word group planning guide living permanently on your website. It's a highly specific, citable FAQ page about border crossings. It's an automated pre-trip email sequence. It's a YouTube video showing the exact layout of Cabin 4 embedded on a text-rich web page.
And how does that buy back my time? I still had to take the time to shoot the video and write the massive FAQ page. You're just giving me more homework.
Think of an owned asset not as marketing, but as a digital staff member. Let's go back to the sports show floor. When you are at a booth and someone asks you, hey, how do I bring my own personal boat across the Canadian border? What paperwork do I need?
Oh, I get that one constantly.
Right. And you give them a fantastic, detailed answer because you know it by heart. But you only help that one prospect. And you know for a fact you will have to answer that exact same question 50 more times before the weekend is over.
Try 500 times. It drives me insane.
Exactly. It's a massive drain on your energy. Now imagine taking the time to write down that exact perfect answer once. You sit by the fire in December, and you read a page on your site called How to Clear the Canadian Border with Your Own Boat, a complete guide for U.S. anglers.
Okay.
You detail the forms, the restricted items, the average wait times. You publish it. That page now acts as an operating staff member that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Oh, I see where you're going.
When a planner at a kitchen table in Ohio asks their phone about border logistics at 11:00 p.m. on a Tuesday, your digital staff member answers them perfectly. It handles the repetitive logistics, so you, the owner, don't have to. You stop repeating yourself.
Okay. I see what you're saying. This isn't about doing more work. It's about documenting the work I already do, taking the answers I already give from memory every single day and recording them so I don't have to constantly repeat them on the phone or at a show.
Precisely. You are capturing your operational knowledge and turning it into permanent equity. But I know what you're going to say next.
Oh, do you? Because I was just thinking, if I put all my specific logistics, my itineraries, and my border guides online for everyone to see, aren't my competitors just going to steal it? They'll just copy and paste my hard work onto their websites.
That is a very common fear, but it actually reveals why localized truth is your ultimate defense.
My truth.
Yes. If a competitor copies your generic fluff, if they steal, we have world-class fishing, it doesn't matter because it's meaningless. But if they try to steal your hyper-specific logistics, it will actually hurt them.
How does that hurt them?
If they steal your page that says, we are located 20 minutes from the border via Highway 105, but they're actually located 4 hours away via a logging road, the AI will eventually cross-reference that geographical impossibility, flag them as unreliable, and guests who book based on a lie will leave devastating reviews.
Right.
Your specific operational truth, the exact layout of your cabins, your exact geographic coordinates, your exact species timing, cannot be successfully stolen because it only applies to you.
Huh. Okay. That is a solid point. My truth is my moat. All right, you've got my attention. I like the idea of not repeating the border crossing rules every 3 days, but I really need to understand the mechanics here.
Sure.
I need to know how this works under the hood. Let's say I sit down in January when the lake is frozen and I write down all these answers. I build this massive answer library. How does this AI actually find me? Because for the last 10 years, every marketing guy who cold called me said the whole game was just trying to rank #1 on Google for Canada fishing.
And that, right there, is the biggest paradigm shift in the entire source pack we are reviewing today. The game has fundamentally changed from ranking to being recommended.
What's the difference? Isn't being recommended just the same thing as ranking #1?
Not anymore, and the mechanism's totally different. Traditional search emphasis was all about a page's position for a broad keyword. You stuffed the words Canada fishing on your site, you competed with 100 other pages, and you hoped to get that blue link at the top.
Yep, the old blue links.
The user clicked it, read your site, and hopefully called you. AI trip planning is an entirely different architecture. It's about whether a business can be named in a highly specific and natural language-fitted answer.
So it's actually answering them.
The AI isn't just giving the user a list of links to read, it's doing the reading and the vetting for the guest. It's assembling a short narrative response based on synthesizing dozens of sources. And to be named in that synthesized response, your digital presence must clear what the strategy documents call the 5 filters.
5 filters. Okay, let's unpack these. I need to understand this. If I want my new digital staff member to get noticed by this AI vetting agent, what is filter #1?
Filter #1 is query fit. The answer engine must find information that matches the actual real-world situation the guest is asking about. This is about moving from generic promotional copy to situational clarity.
Give me a real example. How do I fail the query fit filter?
Let's look at your website's description of your cabins. Most lodge websites currently say something like, "Our cabins are perfect for everyone. Enjoy nature at its finest."
Yeah, that sounds like mine.
Now, if a trip planner asks an AI, "Are there any fishing lodges in Ontario that are accessible for an older guest who has a bad hip and has trouble walking up steep hills?" Your site is completely useless to the AI.
Why?
It has no idea if perfect for everyone means wheelchair accessible, step-free, or just generally nice. It has no data to prove a fit.
Right, well, my dock actually has a pretty steep set of wooden stairs to get up to the main lodge. An older guy with a bad hip would absolutely hate it. It's a tough climb after a long day in the boat.
Exactly. So to clear the query fit filter, you write the specific truth. You change that generic marketing copy to something highly situational. You say, "This specific cabin setup works best for groups of 4 to 8 active anglers. Please note that the boat and access requires moderate physical mobility to navigate a steep set of wooden stairs from the dock to the main lodge."
But wait, hold on. Doesn't telling them about the steep stairs scare people away? I was always taught that marketing is supposed to make everything sound perfect and easy. If I say it requires moderate physical mobility, I'm going to lose bookings.
That is old school scarcity mindset thinking. In the modern landscape, specificity remains honest, and it builds immense trust. Think about the alternative. You don't mention the stairs. You trick the guy with the bad hip into booking. He arrives. He has a miserable, painful time. He complains to your staff all week, and then he goes home and leaves a blistering 1-star review that lives on Google forever.
Oh man, that is a nightmare scenario. I've had that happen.
Right. By stating the constraint clearly, you attract the right fit guest. And more importantly for our strategy, when a different user asks the AI, "What's a good lodge for active, physically fit anglers who want a rugged experience?" the AI uses your specific text about the stairs as proof that you fit that query perfectly. Honesty is actually a sorting mechanism.
Okay, I get that. Honesty is a filter. It saves me the headache of angry guests. But let's say I do that. Let's say I write a massive 2,000-word page detailing the entire 50-year history of my lodge, covering every detail, the stairs, the boats, everything. Surely the AI will just read that whole page and figure out who I fit best.
And that logical assumption brings us directly to filter number 2, which is passage-level clarity. This is crucial for understanding how the technology actually retrieves information. AI systems do not read your entire website from beginning to end like a human reads a novel. They use a process often called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG.
Okay, pretend I'm 5 years old. What does that mean?
It means the AI breaks documents down into small chunks or passages. When a user asks a question, the AI searches its massive database for the specific chunks of text that mathematically relate to the question. It retrieves those snippets and uses them to generate the answer.
So it's pulling pieces out.
Yes. If your information is buried in the middle of a massive 2,000-word wall of text without any clear structure, the AI struggles to extract it as a clean, standalone fact. A useful passage needs to contain a direct answer, specific entities, and enough context to stand completely alone.
Then how do I structure that? I'm telling you again, I am not a computer programmer. I don't know how to code these chunks.
You don't need to write a single line of code. You just need to use basic formatting that you could do in Microsoft Word or on any basic website builder. You use question-based subheadings, what web designers call H2 tags.
H2 tags?
Yes, heading 2. Think of it as a chapter title. The trick is to make the H2 tag mirror exactly how guests ask questions. So instead of a generic fluffy heading that says "Our Fleet," you use a heading that asks the specific question, "What kind of boats and motors do we provide?"
Ah, I see.
And then, this is the most important part, the very first sentence underneath that heading must be the direct factual answer. You write, "We provide 16-foot Lund boats equipped with 20-horsepower Yamaha 4-stroke motors featuring flat floors and swivel pedestal seats."
Just getting right to the point.
You use short answer-first paragraphs, followed by bulleted lists of inclusions. When the AI scans your page, the H2 tag signals, "Here is the topic," and the paragraph below it delivers the exact factual payload. You are serving the answer on a silver platter to the machine. You're making it impossible for the AI to misunderstand you.
So it's literally just formatting my text like an FAQ instead of a novel.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. That makes total sense. What is the third filter?
Filter number 3 is entity confidence. And this is the ultimate defense against AI hallucinations.
Hallucinations? You mean when the AI just makes things up entirely? I've seen articles about lawyers getting in trouble because ChatGPT invented fake court cases.
Exactly. Large language models are essentially highly advanced pattern-matching prediction engines. They predict the next most likely word. If they are confused or if the data is messy, they might combine your lodge with a lodge 3 lakes over that has a similar name or invent a service you don't offer.
Well, I don't want that.
To prevent this, the AI needs absolute confidence that it understands your lodge as a real, defined, specific business entity in the real world, rather than just a vague collection of marketing text.
So it's like a border guard checking a passport. If my driver's license says Sunset Lodge, but my passport says Sunset Camp, and my boarding pass says Sunset Fishing Resort, the guard is going to pull me into the back room for questioning because my identity isn't clear.
That is a phenomenal analogy.
Wow.
AI is doing the exact same thing with your digital footprint. To prove you are real to a machine, you need perfect consistency. The industry term is NAP, name, address, phone number.
Oh boy.
Your business must be represented identically across your website, your Google business profile, regional tourism directories, and your social media pages.
Okay, this is actually a massive pain point for me. 10 years ago, my old business partner set up a Google profile. Then I bought him out and I built a new website, but I lost the password to the old Google profile, so it's still out there with an old phone number. Is that hurting me?
It is severely hurting you in the AI era.
Yeah.
The AI sees camp with one phone number on Google website. It sees contradictory information. It loses entity confidence.
And what happens then?
When an AI is not confident, it has a core programming reason to be cautious. It does not want to give a user a fake phone number. So it will simply skip you and recommend the lodge down the road that has its data perfectly aligned. Entity clarity isn't an SEO trick. It is the fundamental reduction of ambiguity. You have to fix that old Google profile.
That is infuriating because dealing with Google support is an absolute nightmare, but it makes total sense. If I have typos in my phone number across the internet, I look like a scam, even to a robot. Okay, so I go through the headache and I fix my digital passport. I get my listing straight. What's the fourth filter?
Filter 4 is authority beyond the site,
Meaning
AI looks for third-party validation. Your website supplies the primary details, the specific rules, the operational truth. You say you have 16-foot luns and great July walleye. But AI systems, just like human travelers, give exponential weight to independent sources to verify that you are who you say you are. You can't just grade your own homework.
So you're talking about guest reviews.
Guest reviews are a massive part of it, yes. But it's also mentions from regional tourism boards, local media, fishing content creators, or community coverage. The lesson here isn't to ignore your own website, but to orchestrate authority across the web.
How does that actually work?
Here's how it works mechanically. If you state on your newly formatted website that you have the best late September pike fishing on Eagle Lake, and then the AI finds a review on your Google business profile from a guest named John that specifically says, caught my personal best 42-inch pike here in late September, and then a regional Ontario tourism article mentions your lodge as a premier fall pike destination that creates a triangulated authority signal.
Ah, I see.
The AI now knows your claim is a verified fact.
Okay, wait. So when I ask my happy guest to leave a review, I shouldn't just ask them to say we had fun. I should actually encourage them to mention specific details, like ask them to mention the fall pike or mention that they brought their whole family. By getting them to write specific reviews, I am actually training the AI to recommend me for those specific things.
You've got it. One highly specific review from a family of 6 with 2 non-anglers who loved the comfortable cabins is worth exponentially more to an AI and to future human readers than 20 generic reviews that just say, great place, 5 stars, had fun.
That brings us to the final filter, filter number 5.
Filter number 5 is the complete recommendation story. The final answer an AI gives a traveler is rarely just a bulleted list of links. It is often a narrative comparison. It synthesizes the options. The named lodge needs to have provided enough citable evidence across the first 4 filters for the system to explain why it is recommending it to this specific user.
Give me an example of the story it tells. How does it present me to that guy at the kitchen island?
If the AI is recommending your lodge, it wants to be able to output a paragraph that reads like this. You should strongly consider Host's Lodge for your July trip. It is ideal for your group of 6 because they offer 3-bedroom, step-free cabins right on the water. You will access the lodge via a 20-minute float plane trip from the regional base, which adds to the wilderness experience you requested. While they specialize in July walleye on the western rock piles of the lake, please note that they use 16-foot boats, so your group will need to fish 3 to a boat.
That's a great paragraph.
It is.
Yeah.
But if you only have a generic contact form and a few sunset pictures on your site, the AI does not have the raw material to write that narrative. It needs the facts, the boat lengths, the flight durations, the species depths, the physical layout.
Okay, here is where it gets really interesting for me. And honestly, it's a bit of a relief. My whole career, I thought digital marketing was about spinning the truth to sound sexier than reality. I thought I needed to hire a guy in a dark room to hack the Google algorithm with secret keywords. But what you are telling me is that I don't need to trick the AI.
This is not at all. Tricking the AI is a fool's errand. The algorithms change every week.
I just need to state the specific, localized, almost boring business truth. The heritage of my camp, my exact knowledge of the lake contours, the fact that the float plane takes exactly 20 minutes from the base, the fact that my cook makes homemade bread every morning at 5 a.m., because a generic AI or a generic competitor down the road who just bought the place cannot fake 50 years of localized operational knowledge. My truth is my competitive defense.
That is it. That is the massive realization. The goal is not to trick the system. It is to make the truth about your lodge incredibly easy to understand, easy to parse, and absolutely safe for the machine to recommend. A generic AI cannot fake your specific operational reality. When you document your reality, you become the settable authority.
I am tracking with you. I really am. The
Yeah.
logic is sound, the filters make sense, but I have to bring us back to reality. We are back to the muddy boots problem.
Okay, let's hear it.
I am still a seasonal operator. I have a highly compressed annual calendar. In the summer, from May to September, I am managing guests, pulling hooks out of fingers, fixing water pumps, and trying to keep the camp from burning down. I literally do not have the time to sit at a computer in July and write an answer library. So how on earth do I actually implement this without it becoming my full-time job? Because if your solution requires me to be a webmaster in the middle of my busy season, I'm out.
And you absolutely should not sit at a computer in July. If you are a computer in July, you are failing your guests. The strategy documents we are reviewing do not just give theory, they lay out a very specific 5-stage implementation roadmap.
Okay, a roadmap.
It is a sequential, systems-based approach that deeply respects the seasonal rhythm of an outdoor hospitality owner. It turns the information you already know into material that works across the booking journey without causing burnout. It isolates the computer work to the months when you actually have time to do it.
All right, let's walk through this roadmap. I want to see if this actually survives contact with reality. I'm looking at my calendar. It's early winter. Let's say it's late November or early December. The lake is frozen solid, the cabins are winterized and boarded up, the accounting books for the year are closed. I'm sitting by the wood stove. What is stage one?
Stage 1 happens exactly then, in early winter. It is called established truth. Before you do any promotion, before you write any guides, you have to lock down the exact foundational facts that a guest and an answer engine need. This is where you fix that entity confidence we talked about.
So this is where I deal with the passport issue, cleaning up the NAP, name, address, phone number. I finally call Google support and merge those profiles.
Yes, auditing your digital footprint across the web so it is perfectly consistent. But it's more than just the phone number. It's defining your trip fit. You map out the exact factual parameters of the trips you offer. Are you fly in, boat in, or drive to? Are you fully guided or self-guided? You define your species calendars based on reality, not optimism. What is genuinely caught in May versus August.
And defining who we are not for. Like the guy with the bad hip.
Exactly. This is the time to write down the real differences that cannot be copied. Your heritage, your specific geography, your service style. You are building the factual foundation. If the business itself is not described consistently right now, every marketing action you take later will be fighting an uphill battle against AI confusion.
Okay, I can handle that. I can do that from my office by the wood stove in December with a cup of coffee. Let's just get my ducks in a row. So what happens in midwinter, January and February, stage 2?
Stage 2 is build the priority answer library. Notice it says priority. I'm not telling you to begin by writing 50 random blog posts about fishing tips.
Thank goodness, because I would run out of things to say by Article 3.
You focus only on the most consequential pre-booking questions, the questions that stop people from booking. You build the core 5 pages for your 4 master outcomes, which are more bookings overall, shoulder season strength, attracting younger guests, and securing larger group sizes.
What are these core pages? Give me the exact list.
First, a right fit group guide. This helps a group leader figure out if your lodge works for their specific mix of people, the hardcore anglers, the beginners, the older guys. Second, a shoulder period reframing page.
What does that mean? Reframing.
Let's say you always have trouble booking the last 2 weeks of September because people think it's too cold and miserable. You build a page specifically explaining why late September is actually the absolute best time for trophy pike fishing, what the weather's really like, what gear to bring to stay warm, and how the summer crowds are gone. You reframe a perceived weakness into a highly targeted strength.
I love that, because it is the best time for big pike. The big girls come up to the shallows, people just don't know it. They assume fishing is over after Labor Day.
Exactly. And the AI needs that page to exist so it can recommend you to a user searching for fall trophy pike Canada. The other core pages are a logistics and arrival explainer covering those border crossings and flight weights, a species masterclass detailing the depths and tactics for your specific lake across the summer, and a packing and preparation FAQ that answers the 50 questions you usually get over the phone.
Okay, but writing 5 massive detailed pages, that is a lot of typing. I'm a fast talker, but I type with 2 fingers. That will take me weeks.
Use the tools available to you. You don't have to type it. You can open a blank document, turn on voice to text on your phone, and just explain the border crossing rules out loud exactly like you would to a guest standing in front of you.
Just dictate it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or go through your email outbox. You have probably typed the answer to what should I pack 50 times in the last 5 years. Copy and paste your best email responses, format them with those H2 tags we talked about, and publish it.
Okay, voice dictation. I can do that. I can just talk to my phone for an hour. So by midwinter, my digital staff member is fully trained with all the core knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to stage 3, which happens in pre-opening. It's late winter, early spring. The ice is starting to melt. You are getting ready to open the camp, hire the staff, and order the food. This stage is connect booking and communication.
Does this mean buying fancy, expensive software? Because I currently just use a large paper ledger book.
It means implementing digital tools as infrastructure, not as the strategy itself. If a visitor reads your amazing new answer library and decides they want a book, they shouldn't have to wonder what happens next. The site needs a clear inquiry path.
Like an online availability calendar.
Yes, a simple WordPress cabin calendar plugin. They're used strictly as friction reducers. If a millennial group organizer wants to know if a cabin for 6 is open during the second week of July, they shouldn't have to call you and leave a voicemail to find out. The calendar handles it instantly.
That makes sense.
But more importantly for your sanity, this is when you set up your automated pre-trip email sequences.
Okay, this I absolutely need. How does that work?
You set it up once in the spring. When a guest books in February for a trip in July, the system automatically schedules a series of emails to go out. 30 days before their trip, it sends the packing list and border prep guide you dictated in the winter. 14 days before, it sends a link to the what to expect at the float plane base video. 7 days before, it sends the latest fishing report and a weather link, maybe using a simple Environment Canada weather plugin on your site.
So in July, when I am up to my elbows in boat grease trying to fix a lower unit, my phone isn't ringing with a guy asking what kind of rain gear to bring or if he can bring a case of beer across the border, because the automated email already sent him the FAQ page I wrote in January.
Precisely. You have drastically reduced your manual communication burden during the busy season. The automation sends the right existing information at exactly the right time. You are managing expectations proactively.
All right, I am sold on that. So now it's in season. Summer is here. The guests are arriving. The boats are running. The weather is chaotic. I am working 70 hours a week again. What is stage 4?
Stage 4 is build proof and external authority. But because it is in season, the strategy here is strictly light asset capture. You do not sit at a computer.
Light asset capture. What does that actually look like on a Tuesday in July?
It means keeping a small waterproof notepad in your shirt pocket. When a guest asks a question you haven't heard before, or a question you hear 3 times in 1 week that isn't on your website, you just jot it down. You don't answer it online then, you just save it. That notepad becomes the raw material for updating your FAQ next winter.
That's easy. I already carry a notepad for grocery lists.
And you take a few photos or short videos each week on your phone. A happy group at the dock, a really nice fish, a newly repaired cabin deck. Don't edit them, just save them. But the absolute most important part of stage 4 happens at the moment of peak happiness.
Peak happiness, like when they catch the big fly.
Or when they're sitting by the fire pit on their last night, exhausted, thrilled, having a beer and telling stories. That is the moment you ask for the review. You say, hey guys, if you had a great time, it would mean the world to me if you left a review mentioning how much you loved the new 16-foot boats.
Get the specifics.
Yes. Or you ask if they have any great photos they'd be willing to text you. You systematize the collection of guest stories. This external proof is what validates your business truth to the AI recommendation engines we talked about in Filter 4. One highly specific, great story or review collected in July fuels your digital authority for the entire next year.
It's not a separate marketing task. It's just weaving it into the hospitality I'm already doing. I'm already sitting by the fire with them. I just need to remember to ask.
Exactly. It's a habit, not a campaign. And finally, the season ends. It's fall, you've closed the camp, pulled the boats out of the water, you are exhausted but successful. Stage 5 is measure outcomes.
So this is where I look at how many hits the website got, how many page views.
No, absolutely not. We stopped tracking vanity metrics like website hits or social media likes. Remember the dark funnel. Much of your AI-influenced discovery happens in private chats and remains entirely invisible to traditional website analytics anyway. A page view doesn't pay the bills.
So what do I actually measure? How do I know if the winter work paid off?
You measure the actual operational outcomes that impact your business valuation and your sanity. Did you get qualified inquiries from entirely new, younger groups that you didn't meet at a sports show? Did your shoulder season occupancy in May and September increase because your reframing pages actually worked?
Yeah.
Did your average group size increase from 4 guys to 6 guys because your right fit guide gave the organizer confidence to invite more people? And most importantly for you personally, was there a measurable, noticeable reduction in the repetitive phone questions you had to answer all summer?
I'll tell you right now, if the phone rings less with silly questions about rain gear, but the cabins are full of bigger groups booking in September, that is the ultimate victory. I would buy back weeks of my life.
That is marketing equity. You spent your time in the winter building digital assets that permanently lowered the future cost and the physical effort of guest acquisition.
You know, stepping out of the role play for a second, this is a massive realization. For years, this entire industry has viewed a website as just an online brochure, a static digital business card that you build once and forget about. But if you follow this roadmap, your digital presence is actually citable evidence. It's an equity engine.
It completely ceases to be a marketing expense and becomes a core operating asset. It attracts right-fit guests through AI recommendation, it handles the repetitive logistics to reduce your communication burden, and it captures the stories of a great stay to automatically turn today's hospitality into tomorrow's demand.
It's a booking engine that supports the owner's hospitality rather than replacing it with fake tech fluff.
Okay, let's unpack everything we've discovered on this journey today because we've gone deep.
We covered a tremendous amount of ground. We did. We started by recognizing the sheer exhaustion of the traditional grind. The realization that the discovery room, the sports show floor where we used to meet every single guest face-to-face, has fundamentally migrated. It hasn't died, people are still traveling, but the initial research moved to the kitchen table, to the smartphone, and to the AI assistant.
We confronted the silent danger of the demographic cliff. The uncomfortable truth that legacy loyalty, while beautiful, is not a business succession plan. The next generation of planners is making decisions inside a dark funnel, evaluating risk reduction and a digital clarity before they ever care about your nightly rate.
And we figured out how to survive and thrive in that shift. By swapping the exhausting treadmill of rented marketing, the expensive booths, the fleeting social media posts for owned marketing assets, digital staff members, answer libraries that work around the clock answering the questions we are tired of answering.
We decoded the AI vetting agent, understanding that traditional SEO ranking is fading and being recommended is the new standard. Clearing those 5 filters: query fit, passage level clarity, entity confidence, authority, and the recommendation story. And doing it not by tricking the system, but by rigorously documenting your exact, localized business truth.
And finally, we saw that this isn't an impossible mountain for a small business owner to climb. It's a very practical 5-stage implementation roadmap that perfectly aligns with the seasonal rhythm of an operator. Establishing truth in early winter, building the core pages midwinter using voice dictation, automating emails before opening, capturing stories in season with a notepad, and measuring real business outcomes in the fall. It's brilliant. It's actually doable.
It really is a comprehensive shift in how to value the hard work you already put into your business, which leaves me with one final provocative thought for you to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive.
Let's hear it. Leave us with something heavy.
Think about the ultimate valuation of any business. When it comes time to eventually sell a lodge, to retire, or to pass it on to the next generation, what is a buyer actually purchasing? Are they buying your personal charisma on a sports show floor? A charm that completely disappears the day you walk out the door? Or are they buying a fully documented AI-citable digital operating asset? An answer library that automatically guarantees the next generation of guests can find, trust, and book the property without you having to lift a finger. Building this infrastructure doesn't just fill your cabins next summer. It secures the terminal value of your entire life's work.
That's a powerful question to leave on. Are you building a job for yourself that relies entirely on your own sweat, or are you building an asset that can stand on its own? I love that. And for you listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a hard look at your own websites today, no matter what industry you are in. Ask yourself if it's just a brochure collecting digital dust full of fluff the AI ignores, or if it's a true equity engine ready for the next generation of guests. We'll see you next time.